What I'm going to present to you today is something that we've been working on, something we've had good luck with. Cold-in-place recycling is something we've done a lot of. It's considered a preservation treatment. We've been using it a lot with our resurfacing program and seen some very good results with the with what's happened. So I wanted to kind of share that with the group and take it from there. The goal of all this is saying, the first problem we have, especially on low volume roads, is our cracking comes back, and we've got to deal with the cracks. Now, we can deal with them, but if we can delay how fast the cracks come back, we should be able to extend the life of the roadway and just be able to deal with those issues rather than, typically a lot of times 2 or 3 years after we put an overlay on, we'd see the cracks. We're back into the cycle of having to seal the cracks, and long term that becomes a problem. So what we've been doing is on a lot of our resurfacing projects, we've been doing cold-in-place recycling underneath them. And I guess I just wanted to show some of that to show what has happened with that. This was one of the first cold-in-place recycling projects we did. It was in 2001, and this is one of those cases where the tech transfer, it started with the DOT where we had tried this. The counties latched onto it and they loved it, so the counties started doing a lot of cold-in-place recycling. So the DOT said, okay, we need to try some of this, and so we started doing this. And this is the case of a full depth pavement. We did cold-in-place recycling in 2001. This is how the road looked in 2014. You can see a couple transverse cracks in there. The biggest problem with this roadway was they've been a little slow getting a surface treatment on it. There was a microsurfacing put on this year, but it's held up really well so we expect many more years of life of this, and with some good preservation treatments, we should be able to get a lot of life out of the pavement. Similar type of roadway, 2004, another full depth pavement. This one was a road that paralleled US 20 and actually carried a lot of truck traffic until US 20 was extended in 4-lane roadway. So after that, we did cold-in-place recycling in 2004. This is 2013 again. I think it's just been a couple years ago we actually did the first crack sealing on it, because we actually got enough cracks coming through that it was worth the effort to go through and do some crack sealing. This is a road just south of Ames, Iowa 210, more of a county section. 2007, another full depth HMA pavement, and again, here's a 2013 picture of it. Another section of 210. This was a little bit different cross section, so you see a few more cracks. This was a little bit different section, a little bit thinner section, so it didn't, you see it doesn't always, it didn't hold up as well as the other one. This is a little bit of a change. This is US 34, but it's a composite pavement. One of those ones in southern Iowa where we built a new pavement out of poorer aggregates, so we had to resurface it fairly early. We actually milled up all the 3 inches of resurfacing, recycled it, put down 3.5 inches of hot mix on it, and again, that was 2006. 2014, reflective cracking is coming back, but still is. It's been holding up pretty well for us. Another composite pavement, 2007 project. You can see we had a full depth PC pavement with 7.5 inches of HMA. Probably this pavement was 1920s, 1930s vintage underneath the very original pavement. And 8 years after it, that's the picture. If you've noticed, I've tried to take these pictures in exactly the same place, so you can see the barn in the background to verify I didn't cherry pick where where the things were. So the before and after pictures are the same locations. This was one in the middle of Iowa 92. This actually had a surface treatment on it. You can see that it was wearing off and came back in. Another composite pavement. In '08 did a cold in place with 3 inches of hot mix. And then this is a 2014 picture. And there's another one, US 6, again, an old PC pavement, been overlaid probably a couple times. This was 5 years after it was done. And this is one of my favorites, US 30. The difference in, you'll notice 7 to 13 inches of PC. That roadway had a concrete overlay on it at some time, and parts of it. Again, it's 1920s vintage roadway that's had multiple things done to it. Had enough pavement to almost be a runway, and the district is trying to hold it together until this section roadway is planned for a 4-lane extension. So this roadway will probably go away. So in 2010 did cold in place recycling and an overlay, and this hold has a fair amount of trucks on it, fair amount of traffic. And this one we actually did the paved shoulders on it. We're taking recycled material, moving out to the paved shoulders as a base widening unit, and then overlaying the whole thing. This shows about the number of miles we've done of cold in place over the years. It adds up to about 900 miles throughout the state, just on the primary system. This is a terribly busy graph I got from Scott Schramm, our bituminous materials engineer. But you'll see the before and after, and essentially this is showing what RIDE was 16 years backwards from when a treatment was done, and then, well, up to 18 or 19 years ahead, depending on where he had data points, where we're seeing that that the RIDE was pretty good. I have the same thing for low severity cracking, medium severity transverse cracking. And I guess what I show this is that, overlays, thick overlays or thicker overlays with cold in place recycling is not a preservation treatment. But what we're trying to do, our next step, is that we've had such good luck with cold in place that we're starting to talk about what can we do with cold in place, then put thin treatments on it. What kind of life will we get out of them? In fact, Mark Callahan, who is here from District 2, has done some test sections on, we're calling them the holding strategies, on a low volume road where trying to fit it into our overlay program, the priority is just low enough that it's going to be really tough to get it in. So we're trying to figure out what can we do with something that is probably beyond a traditional preservation treatment, but what can we do with some type of treatment, add a surface treatment to it, and get a reasonable life out of it for a reasonable cost. And we've in the sections that Mark was working on, we did some cold in place recycling, and those have been holding up pretty well, as I remember, Mark, haven't they? In fact, they're planning another, has it been let yet? Another project?
Yes, it's already been let.
Yeah, another project for this year where we'll cold in place recycle and just put a thin HMA overlay on top of that, and see if we can get 10 plus years out of it, and get some reasonable life out of it, and maybe get into more of a preservation mode on that road. The other thing I want to show quickly is something that we've also been working on with interlayers to try to, again, delay reflective cracking. And this, again, was something that Mark was involved in on the interstate, where we, before the overlay, put on a high polymer, asphalt mix to try to delay the cracking. So there's you put this down, put the overlay on it, see how fast you can keep cracking from coming back through. These are a couple pictures Mark sent me. This is on I-35 in northern Iowa. What kind of traffic's on that, Mark? So 9,500 is about right. You see, this is a southbound lane where we didn't, it's hard to see the crack probably, but it's a crack right in the middle of that picture. This was an area where we didn't put the treatment in. And this is in the other direction where we did put the treatment in. You see the crack coming into the shoulder, and then it stops where the treatment is. So we're trying to figure, kind of thinking of a life cycle approach of saying, if we can delay some of the cracks from coming back by some things we do with rehab, can we help extend the life so that when we do preventive maintenance treatments, we can do a treatment and we can expect some good life out of it, and be able to help our overall pavement system by planning more of a life cycle approach of what do we do now, what's the impact we have later on. So that's all I have. Thank you.